Hello and welcome back to part 3 of the Italian job. And I want to start off by saying this. As we were finishing up the last part, we got to the point where they had come to the determination that the friend, or shall I say their Judas, had was transporting the gold in 3 different armored cars. Now, we knew that the 3 different armored cars were going in 3 different directions. I did not mention this, that when you are preparing to walk into a blessed season, opportunities are going to come left, right, and sideways. You may get 3 different options. You may get 3 different potential good, lucrative, they look good. But if y'all have been paying attention to the GPS system, supernatural GPS system word that I did, you are going to get a faulty option first. There were 3 armored cars going in 3 different directions. God has a direction He wants you to go in. You take the wrong direction, you're going to actually come out of alignment with God. So, which is going to make it harder for you to actually take back what it is, because you're going to have to reroute yourself. How many times have we done that? We've rerouted ourselves and walked in the wrong direction, and God had to bring us back, which took longer, because remember in the God positioning system, I said that my dad made a wrong turn and he had to go all the way back, and it was a long circular loop that he had to make in order to get back to where he was supposed to be, which extended his time double the time that it would have taken for him to get there had he just listened to the original direction. So you want to make sure that you're taking the right opportunity, not the first one that comes up or the one that looks good. Inspect it. Look for the details. Look for God in that thing. Look for His weight on that thing, so that when you see His weight on that thing, you're like, oh, okay, that's what God wanted. That's what He wanted me to take, not this. Because the others are empty. The others don't carry the weight of God. The others, they're good, but they're not God. So, in order for them to get what they needed, they had to, then you saw that they dropped the truck into the underground tunnel, and the only way to get to it was the steel door. Now, remember, I said that Charlize Theron's character, she was used to having the baroscope. She knew how to get through there. She knew the modern way. And I mentioned this before, some of y'all know the modern way to do everything. Some of y'all spouses, they know the old school way to do things. And when you come together, between the two of your knowledge in the area, it's going to make it easier, because sometimes your way is going to be easier and faster, and sometimes their way, through the strategy in which they use it, is going to be, may not be quicker visually, but it will be more solid, meaning once it's done, it'll be secure. Not to say that using the technology, not to say using your quick method. Sometimes you have to take the time. That's what God has done with us in these seasons of holding, where we had to be sitting in seasons where we're being held and we had to stand still. And God's like, I need you to patiently sit here and go through this process. She couldn't open the steel door to this particular safe without doing it the right way. Meaning she had to do it using the combination lock. She was not a combination person. Some of us have always had the ability, we like the shortcut. We like the ability, turn on your computer, click on this thing, get this done. It opens up. But for those that are well seasoned, they like the ability of using the combination. Meaning having the ability to have the team, have the this, have this point, and the combination of the different points bring about the answer or result. There's going to be, you may be the key, but your husband has that element about them that they can guide you through getting that combination in order. God's giving me a vision. You have things that the Lord has given you. Things that could be streams of income. He's given you downloads. He's given you all of those things. But you have a very linear, planned, organized, step-by-step route of doing it. You know exactly how you want to do it. But your husband has a viewpoint that he knows how to take what you have and put it in a combination correctly that's going to unlock it. And when you together work, because what happened is when she put the bar scope up there thinking that she was going to be able to just drill, a lot of us as females, because we have spent so much time working, planning this, that, and the other, and we are the types of people that when God gives us an idea, we run with it. Just like that bar scope has a drill, we want to drill through the process. We want to go directly to the point. And sometimes us moving at that speed will actually potentially break. Yes, you need to break through. But that breaking, if done incorrectly, could actually do more damage than good. Because enemy out here trying to put up an embargo that you ain't getting in there at all. Because that kind of safe, the way that it worked is if you crack the glass, meaning you can bar scope through it if you don't crack it. If you go directly through the glass with no cracks, you could unlock it. But if you crack it, breaking through, the enemy will then have been alerted to bring down the cage of impenetrable bars through the steel door that will prevent you from being able to open it at all. And this is what the enemy wants. He wants you to come in the wrong way so he can have legal right to put an embargo to prevent you from getting through there. So you may think that Eve that she knew what she was doing, giving Adam them instructions. And they both ended up messed up. She might have thought she knew what she was doing, hitting that bar scope and drilling through there. Some of us feel like, I know what I'm doing. God gave me the directions. Let me just go straight in and let me just do. And the only way she was able to get in there is by stopping once she heard the crack. It cracked, but it did not shatter. We are breaking through. Enemy don't like that. But if we do so too quickly, we can put the enemy on high alert to block. So the only way that we're going to be able to do this is when God has the God ordained spouse walk us through the process. So he had to walk her through the process of turning the tumbler instead of using the bar scope. She had to think about what her father told her about you have to feel for it. Some of us are so used to being strategic, analytical. Let me plan, let me do this, let me this, that, and the other. A lot of us have closed our hearts off to feeling anything. Feeling. She had to feel it. A lot of us we've been hurt so many times before. We have been dealt with spirits of rejection and all of this. We closed our hearts off. And you can look at that steel door like a closed off space. Her trying to go through that, through the glass is our walls are being penetrated. Our walls are being broken down. And when the God ordained spouse comes in and he's making the attempt to get to us emotionally, if we feel the wall cracking, if we feel the bricks falling, if we feel the glass breaking, yo, we gonna put them bars up. Nuh-uh, you ain't coming through here. But in the season that we're going into, when these God-ordained marriages come, you're gonna have to let your God-ordained spouse walk with you through the healing process to unlock your feelings. Okay? Because you're going to have to feel through this one. Some of us have trained ourselves not to feel because feeling hurts us. Emotions hurt us. Emotion allowed for us to get hurt and viciously torn down in seasons prior. It allowed Leviathan to just drag us. So, feeling to open the door don't feel good to us. But if you're patient and allow your God-ordained spouse to lead you through the feeling it, you'll find the points to click here once, click there once, click there. And they're all going to click into place. And the door will open. The door lock popped and it opened. She turned around and got herself together. When your God ordained spouse comes into your life and he manages to penetrate and pop open your door, your internal, emotional, spiritual door, that place that you have fought so hard to protect because people have hurt you so bad before. And now he's managed to get you to open it up. You need a moment. Because you're like, I just opened it up. You're partially celebrating it. But you're partially like, wow, I just let myself become more open. And then when you think about it, it's like, wow. And then your God ordained spouse is like, do you want to see now what it's going to feel like now that it's open? And she turns around and said, oh, yes, I do. Because she never looked into any of the safes she ever popped open. But she's like, nah, today I'm opening it. I'm looking at this one. There are doors that you have been barred from access. And when this promise, this door, these things that the Lord promises you open up, oh, you're like, oh yeah, I'm going in this time. This time I'm going to go in. And I'm going to enjoy this one. She turned around and saw them removing them gold bars. And it was like, yes. Yes. You will get the angelic assistance that's necessary to help you get through the door, to open the door, and give you the strategic way to get it open. You will have to work with the Lord. You feel the door opening, especially for the promises that we've been waiting on. All your blessings are there for you, and now you can celebrate. But now that you've opened it, y'all gotta get away. Sometimes you will get to where you're going and the enemy will be like, oh, I gotta do a sneak attack on you because you managed to get the thing. How did you manage to get the thing? Now I gotta come after you. So they managed to take the mini coupes, put the gold in, got a full estimate on how much was in each one of their cars. They were geeked about that. Then they had to drive out to get to where they needed to go. They had to take the cars through the, it was a waterway. Yeah. You are going to go from narrow places. You are going to take your vehicle into places where there is going to be one open space, prayer of Jabez, bring me into open territories and lands. And then it was a waterway, meaning it was a dam. It was empty, but it was a dam. I was sitting there praying with the Lord the other day. At one point in time, the Lord had shown me a Olympic-sized stadium of a water hold, meaning an actual dam that held water back. You've now entered into that open place. This is the place that God can pour his torrential downpour of blessings into in an abundance that can hold it. You're going into that open space. And you're going to be able to get all of the things. You're going to be released into all of these things. You're going to enjoy this. And you have to allow yourself to enjoy it because you deserve to have it. And that's going to be the hardest part. Last night I was watching somebody's video. I can't remember. And they were talking about you're going to be going into places and spaces where you're going to get an elevation and it's going to feel quick and it's going to feel kind of like because you're not used to being in those places that you don't really belong there. And it's like you have to accept it. Don't fall into a level of false humility. But at the same time, it's a level of you have to be cautious with yourself. Pride don't never leave. Pride's always looking for entry to come back in. Pride will catch you in that point when you begin to relax into the receiving, and it'll make you feel kind of like, hey, I got this. I finally got this. Yes. Pride will make you turn on the people that the Lord is wanting you to bless, but these were the people that did you wrong. And God's like, no, I want you to bless them to show them my mercy. But there's some you will never be able to bless them. The only thing your biggest blessing is bless them with I forgive you and goodbye. But there are some that the Lord's going to use you. You're going to be a blessing to them, and that's going to bring them to God. It's like, well, God's blessed you. How did you get this? And how did you become to a point that the Lord was able to bless you like this in order for you to be a witness to them, to show them Jesus Christ? But you've got to come to that place where you're going to still need to be cautious, because the enemy, now that he knows you done broke through, he's going to send some goons, or he's going to come directly for you. Leviathan is coming right for you. Leviathan is the devil incarnate. You can't fight him. God's not fight him. He's going to come at you with those spirits of lust, with those spirits of greed, with those spirits of perverting the thing that God gave you, with the spirit of malice, with the spirit of moving in your own will. Now that you here, now you can do what you want to do, right? God gave it to you. Humble thyself and remain in center with the Lord. If he says sit still, sit still. Because God can't give you something and then you forget about God. There are people I know of that are struggling with that now, wondering why they have not reached where they were trying to reach. And sometimes he's got to pull you back and say, hold up, I need you to come to an understanding. I've been trying to get you to understand. I can't quite give you that yet until I make sure that your heart's fully circumcised. Some of us been waiting in this holding pattern because he needed to clean up some of that stuff in our heart. That the thing I've been dealing with, and I'm going to be honest with you, is pride. And sometimes it's not the level of pride of being, I want to be famous, I want to be out there, I want to be... Some of the pride is that because of the fact that you're very oriented about yourself, or very building and very, you can put your hands into 15 things, God might tell you, yeah, but the season I'm taking you in, I need you to sit down for a minute. And pride will tell you, but I haven't really accomplished anything yet. Why would I need you to sit? Why would I need to sit down? Pride will tell you, I need to still be out there. I was listening to a young woman's video this morning, was talking about some of y'all, it's okay to be a homemaker. Yeah, it's okay to be a homemaker. But I did a podcast recently. If you haven't seen any of my podcasts, go to The Scene to Live the Dream on Spotify or Anchor. And I did a podcast where I talked about don't make me a trophy and then put me on the shelf. We're going to go into these relationships, and some of us are going into relationships. God's going to make sure our husband is going to treat us so well, because that's how he would treat us, that we're going to be kept wives. We ain't going to have to want for nothing. If anything, it's just going to get bigger. And we can't get into that place where it's that element of, yeah, we can be the homemaker, but it's that element, God did give you a vision. Don't forget the vision that he gave you just because you're getting all of these things. Yes, you're going to have a season where you're going to be allowed to rest. David, once he completed his battle, there was a season that he was allowed to rest. But even the Proverbs 31 woman, she was still going out. She was still making garments, keeping the house, and she was out being resourceful, out dealing with the, what is it? property and land. Some of y'all are going to go into real estate. Some of y'all are going to be the ones in order to help people retain the land. Just like you just took that thing back by force, you're going to help other people take it back by force in whatever industry and place and space that they're called to do so. Some of y'all are going to be the coach, the voice that speaks into them. Some of y'all are going to be prophets to the nations. Because God has given you a calling that everywhere your foot tread, you shall have it, and your feet shall go into the nations. Meaning you're going to be a traveling person. You got goals and dreams too. Yes, your biggest, best ministry is being able to be a homemaker, to be able to bless your husband with children. But there are things that you're called to do too. You're supposed to be an assistant to his business. You're supposed to, some of y'all might be called to, she dealt with garments. She dealt with linen. She dealt with property. Some of y'all going to be like the Martha Stewart in business. Some of y'all are going to be, your business is going to be around homemaking. Some of y'all are going to be garment makers, meaning you're going to create clothing lines and clothes for kids and all of these types of things, products for families, all of these kinds of things. Be able to guide people through not only birthing things, but building, innovating. Some of you have voices. I can't imagine the Lord giving you a voice to sing or giving you a voice to speak and then having you sit in the house. Yes, your best ministry can be speaking over your children and speaking life into your spouse, because he's going out into that world, and when he goes out into that world, it's going to beat him up. And you be the one that has to text them to be like, baby, you okay? Are you good? Let me give you a word today. I know you've been out there a couple of days. Let me make sure you good. I'm going to give you a word of encouragement. Make sure that you're feeling good today. Making sure that you wake up, knowing not only that I love you, but God loves you too. And then I'll be waiting when you get back. But I don't want to get lost before I'll be able to finish this. So Mark Wahlberg and Edward Norton ended up getting chased. He chased him down in his Mini Coupe with the helicopter and pinned him in underneath a bridge. And they were facing each other off between the helicopter and him. And it's that element that your enemy is going to do some last ditch efforts. It's like, I ain't gonna let you get away with this money. I ain't gonna let you get away with this thing. I can't let that happen. I worked too hard to make sure that I was able to get this thing. How am I going to let you take it away from me? And the thing about it was he didn't work hard. He just stole it from them once they did all the work. Then turn around and took every idea that they had. The enemy can't do nothing new. He had to steal everything that you did. So he angry because now he's lost everything. You have to come to the realization that you can't panic. That they can't stop you. They may try to reverse it, but it's impossible because it was turned around for your behalf and in your life, because God did it for you. And matter of factually, what was done will actually lead the enemy into trapping himself, leading himself to the dry places that he tried to keep you in. Because at the end of the film, they led Edward Norton's character into the cage, and he was thinking, oh, they in there with the money. And he comes in there and he's like, I want it back. Trying to come in there with a gun. And he's like, he thought he had paid off some people to be like, okay, we gonna come in here. Turns out Mark Wahlberg had already paid that guy money and told him, oh, by the way, the guy that's trying to get you to come shoot me, he the one that killed your brother. The one that was in the pawn shop with the Balinese dancers? Yeah, he the one that did it. And he's like, oh, don't worry. So he's sitting there thinking he got himself a crew that's going to come in there and the enemy think he got somebody that's going to help you. He just set himself up to get toe up. And what happened is they took Edward Norton's character up to the trash compactor location, hung him upside down. They were going to kill him for what he did to that Russian mafia guy's brother. So Haman hung on the gallows that he set up for you as a just reward for what was done to you and all the things that he took. You won't get paid back sevenfold, hundredfold, thousandfold for what he did. You about to receive for that. I always say it like this, that the enemy comes to steal, but he got caught stealing, had to pay back sevenfold even from his own house. He came to kill, but Jesus came to say we may have life and life more abundantly. And I serve a God that answers by fire, and he's coming down on a cloud of smoke in order to come kill while we are surrounded by the fire-thin hedge of protection with angels of swords of fire that are going to come out and make it known that they're going to fight on our behalf. The enemy may have a destroyer or be a destroyer, but we have a destroying angel named Angel Azael that we can send forth at any particular point in time with the word of God to go forth and claim back and kill and destroy any assignment the enemy has for us. So, Haman's got to hang on the gallows. So at the end, they ended up getting everything back, and they were able to go get everything that they wanted with that money in the first place. And the best part was Charlize Theron's character and Mark Wahlberg's character got to be together at the end. You and your kingdom spouse are going to be able to enjoy the spoils of the war. The warfare that you did in the quiet place while you were being held. And that's it. Much love, faith, peace, and blessings to you.